So, this one might be a little long. I've had some requests to talk about putting our minds together and how we're going to climb out of this mess that we're in. And I'm just going to read something from one of my YouTuber that comments quite often, and she's very wonderful in her comments, as many as the others are. It says, hey Chief, I have a suggestion. Let's put our minds together and stop the nitty-gritty stuff. I totally agree with that statement, because most of us are just pointing out. I mean, I think by now, most of us, I don't care if you're on the left or the right, most of us realize that, yeah, the problem is there. It's absolute sequential that that there is a problem with the upper echelon of the lever pullers and the button pushers. And as she says, and I'm not going to put this person's name out there due to the fact that there's been a lot of negativity towards this human being, for better or worse, it doesn't matter. But messages should never be discredited from no matter who it's from, long as it's proper message. And if you understand the message, even if it's delivered by a bad guy, it doesn't matter. Meaning of a message is the meaning of the message. Doesn't matter who it's carried by, a camel, a horse, Moby Dick, the bird in the sky, or a human being. It doesn't matter, or the winds of Mother Nature. And walk through this criminal enterprise. And that's a fact. Let's walk through this criminal enterprise, which it is. And stop feeding on our collective energy and the problems instead of finding solutions, as she states. For example, in 1946, I don't know exactly when, how many nations that they signed up that into the UN. So what that means is their sovereignty is literally gone. And that's a fact. So you think you have a say-so, but you really not, because our leaders have given up by proxy, which is still means nothing. I mean, they're going through the motions, knowing that it's illegal, knowing that that they did not get consent from their people to do that, but they're still going to go through the motions because they know that you're going to lap it up and follow the leader, no matter who it is. And every one of these leaders have been propped up to be the next good guy. And it's a fact. It's a fact that I can say this because I've lived over a half a century, that it's a game, guys. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you figured it out. And the ones that really, truly figured it out, they don't vote anymore because they know it's just a fucking waste of time. Because you're not going to, listen to me these words, vote in a savior that is going to fix the problem and has the solution to do it from within the inside of the halls of these government institutions. It just isn't going to, it's that those places are a gathering of psychopaths, truly. I mean, it's an institution of robbery, and because the psychopaths, the narcissistic psychopaths that seek these positions, these aren't good people. As look, for those of us that have lived long enough, we all know that this statement that I'm going to say, good people, good wholeheartedly wholesome, good human beings, seriously don't take up positions of leadership. They live by example. That is leadership all in itself. Meaning that if you're lit by the fundamentals that you're living by works out good for you, then others would follow without even have to con them, trick them, yell at them like everybody does. If they have to get up there and beat the streets and sell it like an item, it ain't good for you. And that's a fact. So, back to what she was talking about. Another thing, usury is plaguing humanity. Yeah, I hear you, honey. It is plaguing humanity for far too long. And this particular scripted usury predatory, let me rephrase that. It's called predatory usury. And we have a predatory money system, which is based on usury and debt, pure debt, okay? And for those that care or not, wasn't there a guy and all these so-called Christians, quote unquote, say this is my God, Jesus Christ? What did Jesus Christ do in his day? As the book says, he went into the chambers and did what to the money exchangers? He literally kicked their ass. And guess who the money changers were colluding with? The government of the day, which is the Roman Empire. So basically, what he did was a good thing. But unfortunately, in the days of then, which are prescripted in the same days of today, it doesn't matter today, tomorrow, yesterday. It's all the same thing. It's just the things around us change and the words and this and that, and everybody thinks it's something brand new. It's kind of like a never-ending wheel goes around and around and around, and everybody thinks that their time frame, their generation, their millennia is going to be different than the last. And if you follow history a little bit, it's not repeating, it's a continuous of problems. And here's the thing, when poison minds stay in charge, it's going to breed more poison minds. Our system creates, seriously, people, you got to wake up to the reality. This system creates criminals. It does. Because it's a usury system. It also is very highly manipulated, this environment that we live in, by those that control the money system. Because everything is based around money, especially today. I've watched it increment itself into every aspect in the last 55 years of my life. Almost half or 2/3 of all transactions is done through some kind of financial institution, lending or digitized money. And here's the thing. They've made digitized, because if it's not physical, whatever, I don't care if it's still a piece of paper with ink on it and it doesn't have anything backing it, at least we still have the freedom to choose to throw that money away, burn it in our fireplace, give it to the bum on the street, give it to your daughter or your son, it doesn't matter, without anybody knowing about it. And here's the thing that's probably going to krill the ears of many in this freaking retarded nation today. One second. It's nobody's business, including the government's, to know how much money you make. The only thing that is required with them knowing anything, as long as you don't attain your finances illegally. Whatever, and then what kind of laws are we going to have to script that, okay? Which isn't going to impede and infringe on people as long as they're really not doing something illegal, you know. And that could be very wide range, what we could call illegal. That's why I said, depending on how they want to script the laws to regulate what you can and can't do, when no one ever gave them the consent to do that. Because technically, again, in this system that we're working on right now, it is a minority class that really is dictating the majority of the people. Because even underage children, you have to, from under 18, those are still people. And they have to be accounted for, even if they don't have a voice in it. And since they don't have a voice in it, they should still be accounted for as per population. And then there's a lot of people that don't vote. And also, don't vote is a vote. It's a vote of discontent. So if you think about it, again, the system is wrong, because it's already proven a fact that less people vote than there are voting. So, I mean, out of all the people that can vote, it's a very small number compared that truly could cast a vote. And then they've got you to believe, since you didn't vote, you just got to deal with what's dealt out to you. And that is not what I would call a free and open society, and you have freedom of choice. Because if you didn't vote, and millions of other people didn't vote, and millions of other people that couldn't vote, maybe because of age, and I don't think somebody 16 years old should be able to vote. Matter of fact, I almost think the damn fucking voting age should be at 25. You should be out there living a little bit, paying taxes, feeling life come down on you a little bit, not being supported and have no responsibility, and haven't felt the ripples of life yet on a few-year span. It's just like you go to work somewhere and you start in an apprentice program, and usually most of those apprentice programs, a minimum of 5 years before that you could be a journeyman and make some decent money and considerably what we would call have any knowledge in the field that you were being an apprentice in. I mean, think about it. Even our police, they don't train for 5 years before that they're let loose on the streets by themselves, which I think is absolutely freaking crazy. You're going to let a person with a gun, a weapon, and have the law behind it to protect them out on the streets with a fucking weapon. Really? I mean, I see how bad our society has become. No wonder we see the effects of these problems, okay? Nobody wants to earn by merit. Everybody wants to be on top of the ladder as soon as they let out the gate of the door. Man, you got to climb the ladder for everything. And there's good reason for all of these things. All right. So, what has changed? Nothing. Nothing has changed, because we still have the same censorship going on throughout the centuries, maybe a little less, but we're seeing the growth of it again. It's just like, where was that? Something I read earlier today about somebody in New York, I think it was an airport, said that Chick-fil-A has they're not welcome in there, nor in the state themselves. And I think this guy was a political guy. I should have got my info on that, but and I'm not going to start searching for it right now. But anyways, so what would you call that? And what kind of actions we're taking that? And, you know, everybody, you know, we can point out all the problems and we can sit there and finger point at all of the people. I mean, let's just give this a given. Due to the fact that there have been so many people that sit in an office for right now. For how long? For how long? Think about this. This is highly important. And let's forget the presidents. Let's just say we don't have any presidents right now. This is all speculation right now at this point. But in this speculation, there is a truth of what I'm going to say. The truth is, you have all these elected officials that have been being reelected for how many years? I mean, we've watched them become so old and have dementia. Nancy Pelosi. I mean, so you think that the government's going to change when these people are sitting there year after year after year after year, and we don't know who to blame for all of these problems? I mean, they're still sitting there, the ones to blame. I mean, it's not a puzzle, people. And this is high school rah shit that they're doing. I mean, I really think that all of them, including our so-called Mr. President right now, all out there calling people. I mean, I've seen, honestly, in bad, what we would call bad schools with rough neighborhoods, the kids act better than these adults that are currently flapping their jaws in front of us, pointing fingers at everything. They have more to say about other people, what they're doing, than what they're going to do to fix problems, period. Irrelevant to whoever's doing them and how they're going to do it and with whom they're going to do it, how they're going to get the resources, and so on. And we're depending on these people, ladies and gentlemen, to do these things and supposedly manage this country. And in every state, and especially, and this isn't picking on a side or not, because I pick on both sides, the so-called left, these states that are highly liberal, dense states, there's no doubt about it. No one can deny what I'm going to say. They're the most screwed up financially states. They're welfare states. They're sanctioned states. I mean, and it's blatantly obvious. We could see what's happening to New York, California, Oregon, Washington State, Florida. They're turning into the shithole handbaskets of the United States. And it's not a puzzle why it got that way. By the very people that keep getting elected year after year, sitting in those political government seats, are the very blame to everything that we see going on around us. On top of the mafia families that own the Federal Reserve that manipulate our money system in this country that I was talking about. They're making it really hard to see a way out of this without violence. I mean, they really, truly are. And I don't know where to start. I don't think a lot of people know where to start to fix this. And a bloody revolution wouldn't fix it, because usually the initiators, which they're trying really hard, and I got to commend a lot, as many Americans in this country for being diligently secure without doing something stupid. because they are baiting us. They're baiting one side to bait the other side to get the anger flow going up so they can cause civil unrest. And those people, including with the media, are the very ones to blame, ladies and gentlemen. And we're the blame if we fall into their trap of this shit. I don't know. As I said, I don't know how this can turn out without violence. How are we going to get back to home, is what I'm going to call it, without all this pulling to side and favoritism this and I don't care if you want to dress up like a fucking horse. But I don't want to politically hear about it. Let people laugh at you. And if somebody fucking hurts you, I'll fucking hurt them for you. I don't care, but don't you fucking push that shit on me and I won't push shit on you. We don't need to be going to the government to dictate everything, because it's going to turn out to be an Orwellian society, which it is because of these very fundamental actions that are going on. And they're baiting us to do this so that we keep giving up more and more, thinking that we're going to gain it, but we're all going to end up being scrutinized. I don't care what side of the line you're on. And I don't think people are recognizing this. Because in the long run, all these things that we want, each and one of our own ideologies, where it's going, none of this that we think that we're attaining will be allowed in the long run, because they will outlaw everything. And you're going to have to live exactly the way they want you to live. I know that kind of sounds far-fetched, but it's not. I mean, the schools are dictated education, and they're very one-sided in their mindset, most of the educators. I mean, if you're conservative, don't even think about going into education, teaching, because you're going to be outnumbered. And if you dare ever say anything about your political views, you will be fucking terminated, period. So, and people, if you can't talk about things and it's going to be one-sided and you have to just listen to one side of people's views, you know what's going to come out of that. Nothing good, man. And that's a fact. And back to what I was saying about this usury and this being outlawed by laws and telling us how to live, what washing machine you can and can't buy. I mean, they've gone so far that they make the manufacturers make only a certain amount of products, which gives you no choices. So you don't have any choices. I mean, in my lifetime, I used to see that you had choices. There was 15 different products made by 15 different manufacturers. And you had a choice. You could go down and select the kind of car you want with this type of motor, with this type of transmission, with this type of rear end, with these type of other options on the car. Today you get what? Maybe a half a dozen picks? Woo, big deal. Everything is scripted, people, and put to a limit. That's it. Because you're not allowed to do that anymore. You're not allowed to do a lot of things anymore. Pretty soon you're not going to be allowed to do anything. Because, don't laugh, this is where it's going. It's a true reality. And we're helping making it happen. But anyways, I'd love some comments and I'd love some input, because we're dealing with a system that the only way it can protect itself is to do what it's doing. And that's a fact. And if we can't boycott people We can't question anybody about their loyalty, why they're dual citizens. I can't make my political views and own a business, or if I'm not in the clique of that majority in that state, you're going to kick my business out of there. I mean, see where all this is going, right? I hope you do. I hope you see that it's a sad reality that we have to continue. I mean, it's like a war. It's just nobody's shooting yet, basically, is what I call it. And the things that are happening, something's going to break. Somebody's going to snap. I mean, a lot of us know that there's a lot of events that's happened, shooting events, and they may or may not have been real. Who knows? I don't know. If I wasn't there, I'm not going to say I know if it was real or not. I could care less what they do on video, because today they can do magic with fucking the screen. They can make anything. They could even take my voice and put it in, and they could make me look like I did something on screen. And you'd believe it. Absolutely believe it. That I was the one that did it. It was me. You heard my voice. You saw me on TV. While I was on an Alaska trip. They CGI'd me. They digitized me and made me real. And yes, they can do it. Don't think that they can't. Remember, whatever technology the government has currently in its pocket and can use is at least 30 years in the future of technology that we're allowed to have in the public. And that is a fact. Nobody can deny that. And if I have to, I will prove that without a shadow of a doubt. Believe me. So anyways, Andy, thanks for the great comments that you always leave. And yes, we do need to find some kind of solution and somehow a gathering of the minds. I kind of have a saying. I singularly don't have an answer to resolve. But the only way that we can resolve this is by putting the minds together. And at that time, we will figure out what we're going to do about it. However it may turn out. But until then, if we listen and continue to follow this paradigm, these very people, it will continue and get worse. Unless we learn to walk away and be able to fix this situation. One way or another, I'm going to add this. If we or you or the man on the moon tries to walk away from this, it is a for sure guarantee that you're going to be attacked. That is a given. So, yes, there will be violence because they won't allow it any other way. And that is a true reality of all of this sadness, that madness that it is right now today. And both sides are guilty as hell for pushing these agendas on us, which created the mess and the lifelong term people in government, which are also the very blame because they've been there so long. They're part of the problem. Peace out, man. Have a good day.